Welcome back to Radar Chaos. This is the advanced tutorial. I'm going to show you one of the more advanced levels, and it's assuming that you've already watched my other two tutorials, so you have an idea of the basics of radar. There we go. I'll select full realism, I'll select emergencies as well, and let's turn the traffic up high. We'll set continuous play, and away we go. Six airports, an island environment. We presently have 4 airplanes on screen. This is a Seneca, a small airplane that seats about 5 people, and this is a Boeing 737. I'll give this Boeing 737 a heading of about 350, and I'll assign 4,000 feet. That will steer the 737 towards its localizer. Why only 4,000 feet? 2 reasons. There's a mountain here. There's something that goes up to as high as 4,000. 40 means don't overfly that below 4,000. The other reason why I'm stopping the 737 at 4,000 feet is because that's it. You get the occasional departure. And according to the departure procedure, which is called a SID, airplanes will climb off here by surprise on you, climbing to 3,000 feet. And if I want to maintain separation, I either have to keep 3 miles between them, or I have to keep 1,000 feet vertically. In this situation, these two planes, they're not going to have the necessary 3 miles of separation. So we'll use vertical separation. I'll make sure this TXR is climbing to 3,000 only, and he is. I'll make sure the 737 is descending to 4,000 only. That's taken care of. I've got some things to do over here as well, so let me just do those. I need to give a 210 heading and an approach clearance to this Cessna that's landing over here at this airport. We've got a Boeing 737 that needs to commence their descent for destination. Bit of a situation developing over here. These two aircraft, with experience, you will learn that this scenario is going to be a bit of a mess very shortly. So my solution to getting these two aircraft to their destinations is to drive this 737 underneath this Seneca. The 737 is going to do a 2,000 foot intercept. I have to watch this very carefully. The 737's ground speed's 270 knots right now. It's time to slow down. I'll slow them down to 200. And I need to keep an eye on this because I could very easily run out of my necessary 3 miles. By the way, I use these dots, these localizer dots, to measure what 3 miles should be. And as well as that, I also have something called a range line that automatically pops up between aircraft that are less than 5 miles apart. I've got some work to do here. This departure needs 8,000 feet and only 8,000. Okay, this is working out very well. I have a situation down here where there's a departure that's basically trapped underneath an arrival. Once this dash 8 starts a northbound turn, it should not be a conflict any longer. I don't know how much of the screen you're seeing right now, but if you're looking at the entire screen, you would see that I've got a bit of a storm brewing here. I've got a 737 inbound to this airport. I've got another Dash 8 inbound to that same airport, followed by another Dash 8 inbound to this island airport, and we've got the Seneca right in the middle of it all. So I'll put this Seneca onto what we call a base leg heading 250. I've got vertical between them, so I'm happy. The 737 needs its turn to 060 in an approach clearance, and he should be taken care of. He should be able to turn on to final and land all by himself. This Dash 8 needs a descent. I need to make a decision. Who's first? This Dash 8 or this Dash 8? And I'm thinking what I'll do is give this one a bit of a vector to the southwest, because I don't feel confident that I'm going to have vertical between them. So I'll make sure I have lateral. I'm going to show you what happens if you lose separation. I've started this Seneca down at 3,000 feet, which is a no-no, because I've got a 737 within 3 miles of it. And you'll see what happens when you make that kind of mistake. At the bottom of the screen, the supervisor's come up and he's called me on my mistake. And if I had the sound turned on, you would have heard the siren. I'm going to have to stop talking for a moment while I solve some of these problems. And you can just watch. Whoop. Looks like this aircraft needs to land. They've got a medical emergency. So, in this type of situation, you want to find the closest airport that you can get the aircraft to. They're having an emergency, so I'll click the aircraft, select Change Destination, and I will make this airport their destination. As you can see, this airport is now destined for here. I'm going to drive them down to 2,000 feet and leave them on that heading. It's nice when you have an emergency and there's an aircraft directly beneath you. This Dash 8 is going to be far too high for this approach. I'm going to have to turn them left into a down one leg. And this Dash 8 needs to be slowed down. Always lots to do, always lots of scanning to do. Back to our emergency over here. The Nature was a medical emergency. If they had a fire on board, that would be something different. I'd really want to be manhandling the airplane and putting the airplane on a much tighter vector to the airport. But it's just a medical emergency. It's no point in making the aircraft crash just because they've got a medical emergency. So we'll get them on the ground as quickly as we can. In real life, that pilot would probably tell you that they want to go to some other airport because there's better medical facilities at that airport. But we can't simulate everything. This aircraft, I'm going to give them 2,000 feet now, as well as their approach clearance. They've got the intercept heading. Submit. This aircraft, our work is done. This aircraft, our work is done. This Dash 8 here is going to ride over top of the other Dash 8. I've got vertical separation between them. I'll give them a better heading. With radar control, with air traffic control in general, conflict seemed to come out of nowhere. Here I have an Airbus that is departing and needs to be taken to this outbound gate. Yes, yes, I know. This aircraft needs to be climbed to 10,000. Could be a conflict with this Dash 8, so that's something I need to think about. Conflicting departures, very common. More work to do. Thank you. Okay, it's time to give this Dash 8 with the emergency a left turn to a heading of 210, an approach clearance, as well as a speed reduction to 200 knots. Actually, in real life, I don't think I would impose any kind of speed restriction. I think I'll just let this aircraft sail in as fast as it wants. It's got an emergency. When you have an emergency, you throw the rulebook out the window. Back to here. Oops. Okay, I think that's enough. I've been talking for almost 15 minutes. I think you get the general concept. I hope you enjoy Radar Chaos. Thank you.